You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Bayou Splash going on over at LSU. Man, the visitor list is long and distinguished, double-digit top 100 prospects, and a handful of five-star prospects as well. And all this happening while LSU has extended an offer to another five-star receiver. It's Jerome Miles. He's out of the state of Utah. 6'3", 215. In the composite, he's a four-star, the number 58 overall player in the country, the number one player in the state of Utah. But 24/7 has him rated as a five-star, the number 30 overall player. ESPN has him as the number 26 overall player. So you're talking about a guy that, depending on which scouting service you look at, is as high as number 26 in the country at any position and is a five-star. Well, Utah is thought to be the favorite to land the in-state prospect. Ole Miss has taken their swing at him as well. Texas A&M, Michigan, a lot of big-time schools are there. Well, LSU has jumped into the mix, and you don't typically get into the mix recruiting a guy from Utah this seemingly late in the process if you don't feel like you at least have a chance to get him. So I don't know, what's going to happen here. I can't tell you that I have some great sense of what's going to go on, but what I do know is this. LSU has taken some really, really big swings in this recruiting class at receiver and at cornerback. I mean, like, the best ones in the country. Just if you go look at the on-3 composite top receivers in the country, number one receiver is DeCorian Moore. LSU had him committed. He's now obviously flipped to Oregon. The number 3 receiver is Khalil Lockett. LSU has had Khalil Lockett on campus. They're a finalist for him. He's thought to be a Texas lean, but we'll see. The number 4 receiver in the country is Jamie French. LSU's got Jamie French. He's a five-star. Got Jamie French on campus this weekend. Derek Meadows, the number 7 receiver in the country. He's committed. Jerome Miles is who we just talked about, the number 10 receiver in the country. LSU's offered him. LSU is there right down to the nitty-gritty for C.J. Wiley, who's the number 14 receiver in the country. The number 20 receiver in the country is Teron Francis, and that's LSU's got him committed. So, from Carr in New Orleans. I mean, that's 5 of the top. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 7 of the top 20 in the country. You've got 2 of them committed. You had the number 1 receiver committed at one point. I mean, they are being really ambitious with this class. And I keep wondering, how many receivers are they going to take in this class? And it would stand to reason that you're going to have to replenish this class, the receiver position in this draft, in this recruiting class, because of Kyron Lacy and Chris Hilton and C.J. Daniels and Xavion Thomas all likely gone after this season. And then what if you have other transfers, guys transfer out of the program? Does Aaron Anderson play a 5th year of college? I don't know. But the point being, man, a 4th year of college. I don't know. Your numbers, you have to be looking at that board going, you're going to be really thin next year. So you've got to add numbers clearly at the high school ranks, but you're going to supplement the portal as well. You're going to need numbers at receiver. So they're taking some big-time swings here at the receiver position in this class, and it's amazing that they're doing it not just in Louisiana. I mean, DeCorian Moore, looking at DeCorian Moore out of Texas, Khalil Lockett out of Texas, Jamie French out of Florida, Derek Meadows out of Nevada, Jerome Miles out of Utah, C.J. Wiley's in Georgia. You see my point? Like, they've cast a wide net for the biggest name receivers. And I say this all the time, y'all. Like, I am not cool with LSU recruiting nationally unless it's a player worth getting on a plane to go see. You recruit Louisiana, you recruit East Texas, you cherry pick out of Florida and Georgia. I mean, you stay to your base where that's been really good to you. It's only worth investing the resources to go recruit someone out of the state if it's worth going to, if you can't find that player somewhere else, like Bryce Underwood. You can't find a quarterback like Bryce Underwood in Louisiana. He's the number one player in the country. You go recruit him. You're not going to find DJ Pickett in Louisiana this year. He's the number one cornerback in America. You go to Florida and recruit him. You want to get on a plane to go recruit a 5-star receiver out of Las Vegas and Derek Meadows? Cool. But you've seen LSU do that a lot. I mean, Bryce Underwood is the number one player in Michigan. DJ Pickett's the number one player in Florida. Derek Meadows is the number one player in Nevada. Damian Shanklin's the number one player in Indiana. Carius Kearns, the number one player in Arkansas. Of course, Harlan Berry is the number one player in Louisiana. I mean, and now you're going after a guy in Jerome Miles, who's the number one player in Utah. So you're casting a wider net in this class than I would typically like to see LSU do, but it happens to be one of those years where you kind of have to go outside of Louisiana to look for big-time prospects. Now, 2026, that's very different. When you look at the 2026 class, I mean, you were looking at a bumper crop in this state that we've talked about a bunch. And you've got some of those guys on campus already, including Jakeem Stewart, who's the number one player in the country, number one defensive lineman in the country. And in most services, 3 of the 4 services have him as the number one overall player in the country. But you start to look at what 2025 looks like, and I know we've gone through this, or 2026, we've gone through this a bunch already. Jakeem Stewart out of St. Aug, the number 3 player. Lamar Brown out of U-High, the number 5 player in the country. I mean, you don't have to go too far to find a bunch of dudes from this state that are highly regarded. Blaine Bradford, the number 15 player in the country from Catholic, right down the road. You know what I mean? It's just one of those years where you're going to target Louisiana in 2026, and you're going to build a class that is one of the best in the country with guys that are within an hour of your campus. So, it's interesting year to year how it's going to vary, but we always talk about it. I mean, you've got to make sure that that Louisiana is your core, is your base, and you're doing that. But when you can go out of the state and get number one players in their respective state, 5-star guys, of course you go do that, and that's what they're doing in 25. But 26, man, Bryson Martinez, the number 40 overall prospect in the country. Aiden Hall, the number 47 overall prospect in the country. Jabari Mack, number 77. I mean, that's 6 guys in the top 77 in the country, all from within an hour of Baton Rouge. I mean, it's just unbelievable what 2026 looks like. You put a fence around Louisiana for 2026 and couple it with what you're already doing in 2025, which looks really special. You have the makings of another national championship roster. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.